Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of FPL Affairs, the podcast that discusses our 9-month-long love affair with FPL, including the ins and outs that keep us awake at night. In this video, the latest in our Idiots Guide series, we look back at chip strategies and update it with all the new information. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for all of our content and get notifications for what we do that arrive weekly for the rest of the season. Let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He's scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Oh, Saka! That is a diamond of a goal.
Hello, the Idiots Guide to Chip Strategies updated with me, Matt, aka the FPL Affairs veteran, flying solo, I'm afraid, because the FPL Affairs master, Jack, is changing his chip strategy again. Well, at least he's flexible with it. Anyway, are you like him and keep changing your mind? Do you have a chip strategy? Do you have one like me who has just stuck with it for week after week after week and as good as not changed? Do you even know what a chip strategy is? Let's have a look. The Edit's Guide to Chip Strategies updated. What is a chip strategy? An FPL chip strategy is a long-term plan made in advance that includes when you use your remaining chips. The reason for doing this is to get the most out of double and blank game weeks without taking lots of -4 hits for making too many transfers. Predicted game week calendar for the remainder of the season. Game week 32 is a double game week for Newcastle and Crystal Palace. That's rescheduled since Newcastle's Carabao Cup victory in game week 29. Game week 33 is also a double game week. This is for Manchester City, Aston Villa, Arsenal and Crystal Palace. That is due to the FA Cup semi-finals that clash in game week 34. Please note, though, that the Nottingham Forest Brentford fixture in game week 34 that clashes with the FA Cup semi-final is actually remaining in game week 34. It's just moving to the midweek rather than at the weekend. Game week 35 is normal. Game week 36 is predicted to be a double game week. It's not confirmed as yet, but it's likely it will be fixtures moved from game week 37 due to winners of the FA Cup semi-finals and also potentially teams that may have reached the finals of the Europa Conference League or the Europa League, which again is in game week 37. Game week 38 is a normal bonkers last Sunday of the season. So those game weeks confirmed. Game week 32 is a small double game week for Newcastle and Crystal Palace. Newcastle face Manchester United at home, followed by Crystal Palace at home in the week. Crystal Palace have Manchester City away at the weekend with Newcastle away on Wednesday evening. Game week 33 is a double game week for Arsenal, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace and Manchester City. So all of those with two fixtures. Arsenal face Ipswich away and Crystal Palace at home. Aston Villa have, Newcastle at home and Manchester City away. Crystal Palace, Arsenal away during the week, and the weekend in advance they are at home to Bournemouth. Manchester City is away to Everton at the weekend and midweek home to Aston Villa. Game week 34 is therefore a blank game week for Arsenal, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace and Manchester City, and that is due to the FA Cup semi-finals, which Villa, Palace and Manchester City are involved in. Wildcard chip. You get 2 of these in a season. The first is available in game weeks 1 to 19. The second is available in game weeks 20 to 38. Each chip can only be used once, and once your wildcard is activated, you get unlimited transfers for that game week only. Please note though, once it's activated, you cannot deactivate the wildcard. Best weeks for use between now and the rest of the season is game week 30 or 31 that have just passed. If you haven't used it then and still have it, you could use it in game week 32 because it resets your squad still after the blank game week 29 and it prepares you for the big double game week-ish, middle-sized, of 33. And the final good use of the wildcard would be to have it in game week 34, and playing it in game week 34 allows you to easily get rid of players that blank in that particular week. Free hit chip. This allows you to change your whole squad for 1 game week only, and the next week your squad returns to the one before activating the chip. Best weeks for use at the moment is in game week 34 to easily remove the players that blank. Game week 37 is predicted to be a blank, so you could play it then. Alternatively, to chase the upside, if feasible team specific, you could play your free hit in game week 33 or even 36 if it becomes a double. So you can fill your starting 11 with players that have 2 fixtures. The assistant manager chip is where you choose a manager to score points for 3 consecutive game weeks. And please note, you do have to pay for them. Best weeks for use, you may have it activated currently from game weeks 31 to 33, and it covers the double in game week 33. That's particularly useful if you've already played your bench boost. If you don't currently have the assistant manager active, and if you haven't already used it, the final opportunities are game weeks 35 to 37 or 36 to 38. This will cover any final double game week and focus on teams that aren't on the beach, so i.e. the teams that are left with things to play for, notably Europe by the looks of it. So I think the bottom 3 are basically done and dusted, and we won't have a relegation battle that far in this season. Triple captain chip. Once this chip is activated, you get triple points from your appointed captain instead of the usual double. This chip can be deactivated before the deadline, and you can also change who your captain is for that week. It's the lowest upside chip for points though. The best weeks remaining for use is the game week where a player is predicted to score big, which is usually when they're playing a lesser team at home, or if a player has a double game week or an easy home fixture such as Southampton, Leicester or Ipswich this season. Looking notably over the forthcoming weeks which have been confirmed, game week 32, if you fancied playing your triple captain chip, you're looking at Isak, possibly Murphy if you want to be really differential from Newcastle, or you could go with Mateta of Crystal Palace. In game week 33, the most popular are likely to be Saka with Arsenal's double or Mamouche of Man City for their double. And you could also look at other small double game week, possibly in game week 36, but unfortunately we will not have any confirmation of those until after game week 34 has been played. Finally, the bench boost chip. the points you earned by the players on your bench are included in your game week total. So please make sure your bench is full of available players who regularly start, not ones who are regularly getting benched or are injured or suspended. The best weeks for use is the biggest double game weeks, which is likely to be game week 33 or possibly 36. Unfortunately, with only 4 teams doubling in game week 33 this season, you could potentially have 11 starters doubling with one more taking up a spot on your bench. Unfortunately, it's not a large enough double where you could fill your whole squad and bench with doubles, which has happened in previous seasons. So looking at specific game weeks is the relationship between double 33 and blank 34. Game week 34 clashes with the FA Cup semi-finals, so the semi-finalists and their scheduled opponents will blank. City versus Villa and Arsenal versus Crystal Palace have been moved forward into game week 33, as I mentioned, and also Forest versus Brentford remains in game week 34. It's just been moved midweek because those clubs do not have a European fixture that clashes with it. So yeah, please note though that teams doubling in 33 blank in 34. So therefore you'll need to use chips to change your squad quickly. Otherwise it will be hits galore. -4, -8, -12. Don't go beyond -12. What we've got now, we'll now look through some example chip strategies. So where you're combining multiple chips. Luckily enough, this week I've been able to speak to the All in Football podcast, Barry, the differential king. He will be sharing his chip strategy for the next few weeks in a moment, along with mine. And following ours, there are also a few alternatives if yours differ, what you've used and what you've got left are not the same as Barry's or mine. So, how have you played your chips so far prior to this week, Barry?
So the only one I played is my assistant manager chip, and obviously my wild card that I did last game week to set me up for my potential chip strategy. Because I was umming and ahhing which way to go around this, and I was looking at game week 32, and I'm like, I actually prefer my bench more than what I would do on my game week 33 because I've got Southampton away, and obviously we all know, sorry Jack, that is it's an easy fixture. And obviously Forest have got Everton at home, and then I've got a double game week keeper. So I'm liking that more than my full-on double game week of game week 33. And I'm not too convinced with Isak's performance against Leicester, where I thought he'd be more involved. So I don't really want to be using the triple captain on him this week. So I've opted for Saka, who looked really good tonight against Real Madrid, but unfortunately might have picked up a knock. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Ipswich away and Crystal Palace at home, I think they're better fixtures in my eyes than Man United at home, who look a bit more solid now and understanding the Amorim way, and Crystal Palace at home, who are obviously the informed team in the league at the moment. So that's why I've opted for that way. And I just think it works better for me. And then with obviously my team, how I've set it up, I'll be free hitting 34, and that looks pretty template. We touched upon that on the All In Football FPL show. We did like a little draft of what the template may be. So there's quite a few Newcastle players there, Fulham players, and other players like that. So yeah, that's obviously how I've done it. So I don't know what obviously your thoughts on this and how you're playing yours. So pick your bones of it. Have I convinced you otherwise to look at doing this strategy?
We'll bring up my chip strategy in a moment. But those of you, if you're looking carefully on screen, you've got your Barry's Game Week 32 bus team with the bench boost and Game Week 33 with a triple captain. Quick looking at them, it's the same squad of 15 going into Game Week 33. So comparing the two, looking at Game Week 32 and Game Week 33 teams, you've got a bench of, as you said, Henderson with his double, Rodgers and Dean, you're both away to Southampton, and Nico Williams at home to Everton, compared to, the only difference the following week is Murphy and Trippier away to Aston Villa. Would you say you looked at the bench boost more importantly first, and then triple captain just the best option from whichever game week you weren't going to bench boost in?
Yeah, so with my bench boost, I think the only issue I've got with it is the Aston Villa players and the Arsenal players, because they're in Europe, the potential rotation risks. So that was my only one that I'm looking at is Saka and Digne. Rodgers has played 30 out of 30 games and started. So yeah, that's my issue on that front. That's where I'm probably 75%. I'm probably going to go for this.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on that thought process. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah. We'll move on to mine, because I basically similar strategy, but I'm going the opposite way round in terms of triple captain in game week 32 and bench boost in 33. So with squad selection, I very much looking at my bench for game week 32 is Raya, Savinho, Gvardiol, and Gabriel placeholder. If I were to bench boost in 32, obviously I'd replace that. And the reason I put the City options in is simply, as I've got triple Palace doubling up, then I don't want to be having three of them against three-man City in the same squad. So with Savinho being benched, I thought, I'll bench him as well, and Vardiol I'll bench in favour of Conte. So I've actually got an Aston Villa double up there. And like Barry was weighing up, that's a good bench to bench boost. But then I also looked at the flip side of the bench boost in game week 33, and I'm not necessarily so convinced about whether this is Newcastle goggles on. The triple captain options across both game weeks, and for me, Isak 2 home fixtures is a no-brainer for me. Yes, he didn't play great against Leicester, which is going to put question marks and doubts over some people for triple captaining him. Afterwards, though, Howe did say that he's 100% fit and acknowledged it was an opportunity to rest him if he wasn't, but he's 100% fit and available. And when I wildcarded, I was wildcarding with game week 33 in mind. So my chip strategy, I have fairly stuck with that from game week 23, game week 24, when I was like, right, I'm going to use this, then this, and this. And I have followed Jack's advice to a degree by adapting it slightly, and that was just by using my wild card a week earlier than I planned to, um, which has worked out, thankfully. But if you look at my game week 33 team squad, which I do plan on bench boosting, the downside of doing it the way I'm doing means I do actually need to use a couple of transfers, which if I were to go Barry's way, I wouldn't need to use the transfers. I just keep hold of the Newcastle assets. Whereas the transfers I've put in have been, I've gone with a template of Saliba in for Gabriel, and then I've gone Bradley replacing Trippier, so he'd have Leicester away, and the other being Morgan Rogers coming in for Jacob Murphy. Those are the transfers I'd have in mind. So then my team for that, I'd have 10 doublers starting along with Isak, and then on the bench I'd have Martinez and Konsa of Villa along with Bradley and Salah from Liverpool, who've got Leicester away. So yeah, that's what my bench boost would be. Not going to go into transfers. We'll save that for transfer game week plan video. What are your thoughts on my approach, Barry?
I like the transfers that you made, to be honest. It strengthened your bench massively. Unsure about, obviously, Bradley, because we don't know the length of time that Trent's out. So that could potentially change, but I can't see him being back for the game week 33 anyway, because he's still got a red flag on him, and he's still unknown, and I don't think he's training yet anyway. So I think he's pretty nailed as well, and I think he's 4.7, 4.8 million as well. So it's a good way to get into that Liverpool defence on the short term. So yeah, so I do like that. Obviously, Saliba and Gabriel's pretty straightforward. Obviously, got two decent fixtures. And Rogers as well, as touched upon briefly on when I was looking at my team. He plays near enough every single game. Well, he plays every single game for Villa at the moment. So, but obviously there are tough fixtures for him. But Newcastle at home, obviously sometimes can be a bit leaky in defence. And obviously Man City away, yeah, Man City of old used to be good at home, but are they now? So yeah, that could be an option. With the triple captain, though, I was thinking if there is a double game week in 36, it could be a potential option to keep it for that, because Man City might have Southampton and Bournemouth, Southampton away and Bournemouth at home. Could be a good double game week. And if Forest get through, they could have Ipswich and West Ham. So you could look at triple captain Wood. But we don't know if that's going to happen. And are you going to risk leaving your triple captain till then, when it's not a nailed on fixture? Yeah, you could potentially look at, I don't know, doing Saka. If that doesn't come into fruition, you could look at doing Saka maybe at game week 38 when they've got Southampton away. But it's going to be a dead rubber game. I think obviously Southampton's already relegated, and probably Arsenal are going to finish second anyway. So
Yeah,
that's the potential another avenue if people want to look at a different strategy for the triple captain. But I think 32 and 33 are strong candidates, because Saka, obviously good. Obviously, yeah, he's got Ipswich away and Crystal Palace at home. But as you mentioned, Isak's got 2 home games. And obviously the relationship that he's got with Murphy as well, obviously they do obviously link up pretty well. So that could be a potential option to do that. And if you want to go proper rogue, you could go triple captain on Murphy. How he's been performing recently, but yeah, I wouldn't be doing it. and I am the differential king, so yeah, I think you'd be playing on going straight for Isak on that one.
Okay, thanks again, Barry, for yours. We've looked at his plans of bench boost 32, triple captain 33, free hits 34, and mine being triple captain 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. You got different plans? Doesn't work for you? Well, here's some alternatives. If you've still got your assistant manager and do not have it, if you do have it active, game weeks 31 to 33, if you've got your free hit left, play that in game week 34. And if after that you've got your bench boost or your triple captain chip left, one of those to play in game week 36. Bench boost, if for some miraculous reason you do have all of them left over, bench boost just is team specific, go each week at a time. It's fine to use in a single game week. Just look at what players you are putting on there and if they're likely to play and do they have enough fixture. The alternative with the assistant manager is to bench boost and triple captain in game weeks 32 and 33, free hit in 34, and play the assistant manager late on, where you can play the upside of table bonus and take advantage of teams that are already on the beach and have got nothing to play for. If you're finding the assistant manager chip too confusing, then earlier in the season we did an idiot's guide to the assistant manager chip where we really broke down the rules going into that. Anyway, the summary of the key points for a chip strategy. The wildcard chip sets your team up for long-term. Plan to use that one first in terms of not use it the earliest, but when deciding in your chip strategy, plan when you're going to use the wild card, as that's very fruitful and influential with when to use your other chips. The free hit, use it in either a blank so you can field 11 players or a double to get 11 doubling players. The assistant manager chip covers 3 consecutive weeks. Bench boost, ideally use in a double when your bench players all have 2 fixtures. If not, look at your squad, and if you've got players that are nailed starters and have good fixtures that week, then by all means use bench boost to take advantage of the fixtures. And aim to use triple captain on a player predicted to score big in a double game week or an easy home fixture. In a way, the ideal would be a double game week where both fixtures are at home, such as Isak in game week 32. So hopefully that has been helpful with identifying a chip strategy that is useful for you and what the chips are and basically how to organize them that can help you. Where you can find us for further, x.com, FPL Affairs, Facebook group at FPL Affairs, our YouTube channel at FPL Affairs, where you will find our other idiots guides videos, which we've done assistant manager chip, blank game weeks, and wildcard. So far we've got another free hit guide, idiots guide, coming up for free hit 34, so look out for that. And if you subscribe to our channel and click the bell, you can get notifications for when we release new content. Also below there's the Spotify link. So good luck finding a chip strategy that works for you and your team. So from this FPL Affairs idiot, look out for the rest of our videos. Like and subscribe. Bye bye.